All right, everyone. Welcome to another 90 Day Fiance recap chat. This time it's the spinoff 90 Day Fiance, but before the 90 days. 90 Day Fiance is a reality show that follows couples, one from the US and one from another country. We see their real life story, their ups and downs, also language barriers, cultural barriers, and all of those different issues that they have to go through as far as trying to be man and wife, the matrimony, the legal issues that go along with that as well, especially being from other countries. And there's the 90-day visa process. That's why they call it 90 Day Fiance. Again, this spinoff is before the 90 days. Now let's get into Bojo and Vanya. And I do have a very difficult time saying Bojo's name because it's spelled Bozo. So you can see the issue I'm having. Hopefully I don't have too much trouble this time. But finally they meet at the airport. Last time we were left on a cliffhanger. Bojo wasn't even answering the phone and she was on her way to his country. So we weren't sure how he was going to receive her, if he was going to receive her. But he's there at the airport. They meet with a big hug. She calls him a delicious cookie. She's glad she can be around him, hold him, hug him, touch him. She feels like she's in seventh heaven. And Bojo says he feels like an overwhelming love and connection with her. So this is a great start already. First thing they do, he has a plan for them, which she's happy about. They're going to a cooking class and they're cooking something called soparnik, I think. It's Swiss chard and spinach in a dough that they use. And they have this really huge piece of dough that they have to flatten, and then they add all of the Swiss chard in the middle. It's a group couples class, so that's fun. And people are asking them questions and all of that, and they're asking the couples questions. And he's like really getting into making this soparnik. And they were like, he's doing really good. And she's like, yeah, he's good husband material and whatever. And they kind of laugh, but he's like really looks serious and continues to work on this specialty dish. And as they talk with the couples or slash classmates, one of them asks, so are you guys official? And he's like, we're just nice friends. And that throws her for a loop. And I believe in front of the class, she's like, well, why did I come all the way down here? And she looks really embarrassed. And then he jokes about it and says, oh, no, we're really married. I just left my ring in the car, but it's too late. He didn't do a good job of recovering. She's really embarrassed. She's miffed about his answer in response to what they're supposed to be to each other, but she decides to let it go. Let's enjoy the rest of the night. Let's kind of recover from this. So she gets a nice 3-week rental and he drops her off there. She wants him to spend the night. She's showing him her little homemade gifts. I believe she had like a air freshener with both their pictures on it. And the cookies she made were all smashed up. But she gave him the cookies and he said they were good. He was loving those cookies, but he wasn't loving it enough to spend the night. So I'm sure he took the cookies with him, but he didn't take her, sadly, or he didn't stay at her place, which was a really nice looking place. He was telling the producers he doesn't want to move too fast. I don't know if he really fully addressed it with her, but the first night he just drops her off and like, you're a wonderful person. Thank you so much. Everything she's doing is like, thank you so much. But he's ready to get out of here. It's like, I'm tired. I had fun. Good night. And like, in a way, I get where he's coming from. I feel he's like a little bit colder than I would think he should be, but honestly, I feel like he is acting as a gentleman. I know that they've been talking for months online, and now that they're together, he could just jump her bones. I think that would be disrespectful, even though they may have a love connection and they may have a vibe for each other. I think he said he's taking it slow. He doesn't want to jump into the love thing yet. He wants to kind of see how it goes. And I've heard this before. I know the scenario. You can be talking to somebody for a while online, but once you meet them, there's a different dynamic. Are you guys feeling the connection? It could be very different. So I think it's smart that he's taking his time, but I feel like he could be a little bit more loving towards her. Maybe he could have hugged and cuddled her, and they didn't have to sleep together. There was a couch there, he could have spent the night, but I think it was more respectful that he didn't. And I respect the fact that he took his time, but I don't like the way that he approached the whole relationship situation in front of all of these new people. And even with her, I think they really should have kind of talked a little bit more about, hey, where are we on this? Because, again, she did fly all the way over there. She's looking for love in a relationship. And I feel like he should have just been a little bit warmer to her in that process. All right, let's go to Chidi and Renee. They're still separated and different. He's at his home, she's at the hotel. There was a whole issue between his family and her, especially because she was kind of causing a lot of drama. She doesn't like Chidi's sister, so all of that kind of separated them. He's heartbroken, she's heartbroken, but he's upset, and he's like, and he's talking to his family. He's like, well, if she won't accept my family, what do I do? And she's continuing to ask him to come over to her hotel, and he hasn't done so. It's been a few days. So she's like, maybe I should be done with this, and he's like, maybe I should be done with this too. But, before he makes his final decision, he gets some advice from his friend. And it looks like he doesn't have a guide today, which I thought was like, wow, that's cool. It was in the middle of the night. He's using his walking stick. I didn't see anyone with him. Is he meeting his friend who's partially, I think he said partially sighted, so he does have some visual issues as well. But he told him exactly where he needs to sit, and kind of guided him verbally with his voice. And I just want to say both of these blonde guys are kind of attractive blonde guys. Like, where do I find guys like this in the U.S.? I don't know. Do you have to go to another country to find guys like this? That they may be impaired, but they're still beautiful. So, I have no hate for that. But I see Chidi is not in a beautiful situation with Renee, and he wants some advice. So he explains his story to his friend. Friend said, she sounds kind of strange. She says horrible things. I believe that's what Chidi said. And he asked him, can you manage her temper? And he said he loves her, but he's not sure if he can move forward. And his friend is like, maybe you should let go. If you really love someone, let them go. It may be best for the both of you, especially for you. So he said, maybe you should have a conversation with her and tell her to move on. Meanwhile, Renee's back at the hotel, videotaping herself in a sexy outfit and hoping that Chidi comes to his senses. I'm sorry, I really don't understand why she's taping herself when he's visually impaired. He cannot see the video. She's like telling him what she's wearing and she's taping it. Like, why are you taping it? Are you going to use this for someone else? Do you have a different page that we don't know about where you're going to share this? So I thought it was a little weird that she was videotaping herself for her blind boyfriend. It was weird to me. All right, let's go to the next couple, Niles and Matilda. And it's confusion on whether he was clear with her that they weren't going to get married on that trip. He's kind of changing his story, saying, well, I did tell you on the phone. And she's like, no, you didn't. And then even the producers confront him. And he's kind of letting people know it's partially his autism that may be playing a part in this confusion. She's very upset. He confesses that he wasn't honest. And he could have had many chances when she was trying to plan the wedding that he could have said, we're not going to do it yet. But he didn't do that. But they are going to do something called the knocking ceremony, which is kind of a tradition, like an engagement ceremony. But she wants to know, when are we actually going to get married? But he apologizes, and it's really sweet the way Matilda reacts. Even though she's upset, she's lying on him while he's apologizing, and saying that he was wrong. But he's saying masking may be an issue. That's probably why there was a confusion, and he just masks. It's called masking to keep her happy. Is basically why he did it. But he realizes and knows he should be more honest and direct. She does let us know that they're breaking tradition by not getting married shortly after the knocking ceremony. But first, the family has to accept this and see, will they even accept them doing this that way? So next time we'll find out more about that. But I think this is a great season. There are people with different disabilities, and how do we navigate that? And I would like to see two people that are disabled, maybe with different disabilities, and see how that will play out. But it's usually someone considered able-bodied with somebody that's disabled, and just the different scenarios you have to go through. But Matilda's being super understanding and loving. She's definitely a keeper, and I hope that he does right by her, and I hope he's able to work with her within his autism. They can work something out and have a good, strong relationship. All right, let's go to Adnan and Tiger Lily. Okay, it's been a couple months. Tiger Lily had to go back, but in those couple months, she sees that Adnan has become more controlling, and she's realizing more what is expected of her as a Muslim wife. She has a chiropractor that's male, and he wants her to have all women doctors. He says it's pretty simple, a child could understand, which is kind of demeaning for him to make a statement like that. He said, I think Tiger Lily said she wasn't answering his calls, and he even sent himself to the hospital because of the lack of her response. And they're saying, he's kind of manipulative and childish. Yes, he's only 22. Just keep that in mind. But in the midst of all this, she's going to go back, and she's going to have a baby trip. And they're supposed to be trying to make a baby. So they have all these unresolved issues. But she's going to go try to make a baby with this person. They're going to meet in Turkey because there's so much things going on in the Middle East, different conflicts. So Turkey seems to be a safer place for them to meet up. But, again, she's stressed about all these issues that is going on, even though in the midst they're supposed to be making a baby. And on the way, on the plane, or as she's getting on, she sees Adnan's story on his, I assume, Instagram or something. And it's a steamy shower photo. He's just getting out of the shower. And she messages him right away and says, delete it. She's like, he'd do the same thing for me. He's done that with me with other pictures. And I'm going to do that with him. And he's like, no, I'm a man. I can kind of do what I want. And she said, it's inappropriate. You're my husband. So it's a double standard between this couple, definitely. And maybe you can say that when it comes to some of the standards in Muslim culture. But basically, he's saying he can do whatever he wants, and she can do nothing that she wants. And this is how their relationship is going to go. So we don't know what's going to be next for these two, but I definitely think they need to put the baby making plans on hold. All right, Brian and Ingrid, he lets us know again, we know that there's been a roller coaster ride between them, ups and downs, a lot on his part. He's kind of responsible for a lot of these downs. So it's time for him to meet the parents. And he knows, according to Ingrid, the parents are tough. The dad's kind of avoiding. He has to work today, so he won't be there. But the mom will be there. And Ingrid lets us know the dad doesn't approve. She doesn't really approve of meeting someone. They don't approve of her meeting people over the internet. So that's supposedly the real issue. And Brian continues to say it's because of disability. So which one is true? I don't know. I will say her word is true since that's her parents. So he meets up at her house, and the little baby is there. He's holding the baby, and the baby's pushing his chair around, and that was kind of cute. It's like he's going to get this baby to help him, I'm sure. But there's nothing wrong with that if they have a good family dynamic and environment and relationship. and Brian is on the up and up. Though I've seen a lot of dark stuff on Brian, I think there's still some work he needs to do as a person. I do see that he has grown according to, his past, but I feel a little shiftiness still there. One of the things Brian likes to do is give gifts, so definitely when mom walks in the door, he gives her a gift, and it's a nice purse, but she doesn't look too excited. Mom seems like she's not really saying much. Brian's saying she's pretty cold. He's talking his game, but his game is not working. Yeah, you really shouldn't talk game and try to finesse people anyway, because she probably sees through that as well. He does seem like he's trying to talk game, and he said it usually works. So, I don't like that about him and his character anyway. She basically doesn't like him, and after Ingrid finishes preparing the food, she won't even come out and sit and eat with them, which I thought was kind of funny. And basically, he's like, she's making zero effort. It's embarrassing. He's embarrassed. Ingrid's embarrassed about this. And, they keep asking the mom, what is the problem? Why don't you want to get to know him? And she's basically like, he's from another country. She's our only daughter, and we really want her to stay close. Why does she have to meet someone from another country? Find out also that her dad and her parents are kind of controlling as far as what she does and how she spends her time. So after they eat, they go back in, and mom's still in the kitchen. Somehow she's not hungry. When she does leave, well, I think he's actually leaving, and she does hug him and says goodbye. I guess that was her favorite moment, is when he's gone. So she was happy to hug him and say goodbye. We'll say that. My theory also is that, she doesn't want to get to know him or like him, because she doesn't want her daughter to leave the country. So maybe I think that's one of the biggest fears for the family. I think that's really what's coming out of this. So she doesn't want to give him a chance, so that she can not fall in love with him, not like him. And if she does that, then she has no connection to him, and she can easily disregard him and say, hey, you're not going to take my daughter away. I get it. So now we're with Lauren and Faith. They're in Faith's country, her hometown. It's beautiful, the ocean, the beach. And the day before they meet up with her parents, they're canoodling in the water, enjoying. Lauren gives Faith a foot massage. And I'm not sure why Faith is okay with all this, but whatever. Anyway, I don't know if she's warming back up to Lauren, but we'll see what's going to take place. But she kind of gets really candid about her life story and says at 13, she went to Manila to work because her dad died and all the older kids had to go work. She had two. Her mom had a couple of 2-year-olds. I think they were twins. So she had to work. At that time, I think she may have not gone through a change at that time, but basically Faith had to go work at 13 along with the older siblings, but she was the only one that went to Manila. And it was basically hard to move away from the family, hard to work and make a living at 13 years old and then send the money back home to mom. So that was a very difficult time, and it was lonely. And Lauren's into hardworking people. I feel like he's not hardworking, so he tries to get a hardworking partner. I'm not trying to hate on him, and I do think that he does work and he has a few different jobs, but to me it always looked like he was trying to find someone that was going to work and bring in everything, and he was just going to benefit from that. But he says he'll be a teammate, he'll help, he'll be a part of Faith's life, and help the family and help with everything. And Faith is kind of like always been the provider and wants something like that, wants a partner to help, but not sure if you can really trust him, because he's just kind of saying what Faith probably wants to hear. And it's a lot of people in that scenario, especially women, where we've been in situations where we've had to carry things on our own, and we just always wanted a partner, someone that to help support us and help take off some of the load. And I really don't think Lauren is that person that will do it. I'll be very surprised if that happens. And he asks, are you going to tell your family about what I did and what happened between us? And Faith's like, yeah, I may do that. He's like, well, okay, that's fine. I just don't like his vibe and how he talks to Faith, and I feel like he's just trying to do a negotiation, and I'm not really sure how much he cares about Faith. So I think it's weird. I think he's got issues that he needs to continue to work on. And I don't really believe that he's really gonna help in that way. And we have to see it for ourselves if that's gonna happen. But I'm not believing it. I don't see it. But I can relate to wanting a partner, wanting someone to help, and not even just financially, but just to be there, to be supportive, but also to be able to carry their own weight at least. And I'm not really sure if that's a role that he's ready and able to play. All right, guys, that's it for our recap chat. 90 Day Fiance. Before the 90 days, thoughts, comments, questions, email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com, where we talk faith, love, and trends. All the best, and God bless.